Gaming. Let's get into this one. Daniel Dubois, Anthony Joshua. I've gone with Daniel Dubois in terms of the way I've titled this, is because he actually is the champion. Um, he was the interim champion. He beat Filip Hrgovic, who I said I had very little doubt that Dubois would beat Hrgovic. So he's the IBF champion. Um, So that's what it is. That's why I've called him the. That's why I say Daniel Dubois versus Anthony Joshua. Joshua no longer has belts, and Dubois has been elevated to IBF champion. You know, you can see where the lines of this are. It's quite like a predictable one of these predictable movies. You know that they want Joshua to fight for the world title, so then he becomes three-time, and then after that, they then give Tyson Fury the chance to fight uh, Joshua for undisputed, and then it'll be the biggest fight ever, whether it be in the UK or Saudi Arabia, the biggest fight ever. But they probably try and get in British soil, biggest fight ever on British soil between Joshua and Fury. A few problems there. The two problems are Daniel Dubois and Alexander Usyk, because either one of those two guys, well, one has already ruined the party by beating Fury, and the other one could beat Joshua. So let's get into this. Um, Anytime a Joshua fight comes around, it's like people tend to forget. And I'll take the Francis Ngannou situation as a more of a potluck in terms of predictions, because when you go back and look at that fight with Joshua, and this is all hindsight now, so we can all say it afterwards. If you go back and look at when Fury fought Ngannou, he had no videotape of Ngannou. When Joshua fought Ngannou, they had studied Ngannou well. They knew he'd drop his left hand. They knew when he was jabbing, he'd drop his right hand. They knew what Ngannou would do, and they knew that he couldn't fix those things in one training camp. So as you saw, when Joshua was preparing in the dressing room with Ben Davison, he was throwing a looping right hand. If you looked at it, that was the right hand that knocked out Ngannou. He knew, or him and Ben had worked on the fact that Ngannou was going to drop his hand and Joshua could throw over the top. So I get what people are saying, that if Dubois does what Ngannou did, and the way Dubois fought against Hrgovic, then yeah, Joshua will knock him out. And I understand that way of thinking. But Hrgovic, let's not forget, Hrgovic was an unbeaten fighter who hadn't been stopped. Hrgovic had sparred Dubois before, and he believed, well, I sparred Dubois before. He was a little boy. I'll thump him up then. I'll thump him up now. Unfortunately, Dubois has matured over the last 12 months, which is normal, and he has grown into no longer a boy but into a man. He does still have, I don't want to say babyish ways, immature, childish ways maybe. Looking out the corner, looking for his dad, looking for approval here and there. There are things that I still see about Daniel Dubois, but Don Giles, as I said before, has done a fine job with Daniel Dubois. If you look carefully at Daniel Dubois, you can start to see Don Charles isms in Daniel Dubois. I've always said Don Charles is a top trainer. I've always said it. Regardless of whatever he may feel about me, you give a man his credit where it's due, and you rise above anything else. And I've always said Don Charles is a top trainer, and I've always said he's been, the word is unfortunate with some of the fighters he's had previously. He's to be doing kind of like repair jobs on guys who are decent, but Dubois is like a diamond in the rough, the way I look at it. And Don Charles has done a similar job kind of like what Virgil Hunter would do, where like, and in a certain way, what Emmanuel Stewart would do, not to the extent. Okay, but Emmanuel Stewart was smart, and he was afforded the fact that when fighters came to him, they're already world champions, established world champions, had credentials. So he basically, Emmanuel Stewart did a lot of tweaking. Example, De La Hoya, Evander Holyfield. The list can go on of fighters that may have lost in fights, going into rematches, or they lost their world title, and he'd take them in and adapt, change their style. When Holyfield lost to Bowie the first fight, and then Evander went to Emmanuel Stewart, tweaked him, came back, won the world championship. Lennox Lewis knocked out when he was under Pepe Correa. Lennox went then to Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel Stewart tweaked him, put a little bit more weight on him, refined his skills, became heavyweight champion of the world. The list goes on. But yeah, you could say that about Don Charles, and he may not have taken people to world titles. Like, he did a fine job, I thought, with Derek Chisora, and I've said it before. If Don Charles and Dubois get together, it's going to be a great relationship. I never rated McGuigan for that role because I thought that Dubois needed a father figure inside of boxing. I'm not talking about his father outside the ring, but inside the ring. Person that can mentor him and give him a lot more than just boxing. Yeah. And that's what Don Charles gives Dubois. And as I said, you can see how Don Charles is turning the screw on Daniel Dubois, and he is refining him, and he's turning him into something else. He's turning him into something else, which is a positive. It's a good thing. And I hope the boxing world start to see and watch. You see a lot of these trainers, they get called for this and that, and they name, and you look at the fighter, and they've done little work with the fighter. It's just like the fighter's doing the same old things all over again. You've seen Don making a difference to Daniel Boy. Nobody can tell me it was under McGuigan. He was under the Bowers, I think it was before. So you can see, and obviously he spent some time with Uncle Bashir. I wish that relationship had blossomed, but it is what it is. Even that time, the little time that Uncle Bashir would have spent with Don Charles and with Daniel Dubois would have been immense in terms of the knowledge that would have been passed on. Yeah, and I'm sure that Daniel would have absorbed what Uncle Bashir would have said to him deep inside himself. I'm sure of that. Now, onto this fight. It's mad who both are fighting for the IBF when man who beat them convincingly is selective and hasn't lost. Jason Gavin, my brother, how are you? Dubois hasn't improved boxing-wise, in my opinion, with Don Charles, yet he's just more confident. His lack of head movement and general stiffness is there and will bite him in the arse versus AJ. I hear you say that, but I would disagree with you on the thing that Dubois hasn't improved. Of course Dubois has improved. If you saw how Dubois fought against Joe Joyce and the way he fought against Herkovich, that's two totally different styles for me. Dubois came out of the traps fast. He didn't come out of the traps fast against Joe Joyce at all, and he was prepared to get in there and let punches go. And against Usyk, again, he was very much more on the back foot against Usyk. But against Herkovich, he came out like a bull in a china shop. A guy that was active, ready, and ready to go. The Usyk fight would have improved Dubois because Dubois said, okay, I was able to drop the champion, and the low blow thing is still being debated up to today. But regardless, he dropped the champion. He did something that Fury couldn't do, and Joshua couldn't do. Joshua couldn't do it in 2 fights. Fury couldn't do it, and he had 12 rounds to do it as well. So Dubois would have taken that in, and said, well, I was in that fight. I was meant to get blown away by Usyk. I was in that fight. So that will give him great confidence. And yes, and everyone talks about Daniel Dubois and, he doesn't move his head. And that's a given because they're looking at things about Daniel Dubois If Hergovic was better fighter, he'd have had Dubois in a lot of problems early on, in my opinion. AJ in same position gets Dubois out of there, but still interesting fight. Okay, fine, fair enough. If Hergovic was a better fighter, well, that's like saying, well, if I had breasts and a vagina, I'd be a woman. The fact of the matter is, the facts are that Hergovic didn't show up on the night. And it's the Hergovic that everybody was saying was the next thing. In fact, let me bring you back to something. It's the same Hergovic that Joshua didn't fight. And he had the opportunity to fight. So I don't want to hear like stuff like, oh well, no, Hergovic you thought was a better fighter. Hergovic was the better fighter. Hergovic was meant to smash um Hergovic was meant to smash Dubois. Anyway, let me get back to my points here. Let me get back to my points. So we're here now, and this fight, when I talk about Dubois and Joshua, my concerns are this. Everyone's one-way traffic. Oh, Dubois doesn't move his head. Joshua's going to knock him out. But let me take you all back to a few things that you're forgetting, and I kind of warned you about before the Ruiz fight. When a sports psychologist spoke to interviewed Anthony Joshua before the Ruiz fight, the first fight in America, and they were asking the question, did you see a sports psychologist? And then the person went and said, you went and saw a sports psychologist, and when you saw the sports psychologist, your concern was fear of being knocked out. The media in the room went silent and said nothing about it. Said absolutely nothing about it. Went quiet. It went under the radar. Just like when Joey Dubois signed that contract for the non-disclosure. But I'm sure that Dubois concussed Joshua. And that was all kept hush-hush. And then he went and fought Ruiz, and there were question marks of whether Joshua was suffering from mild concussion or concussion. And then there was a whole thing about Joshua's dad with Hearn, but why he didn't want his son to fight, but they pushed him through the fight because of ticket sales. I don't know how true that is, but I know one thing for sure. When Joshua gets hit, he falls apart. And if I'm training Daniel Dubois against Anthony Joshua, I'd be telling him straightforward, use the jab, back this dude up and throw punches and go for him. Back him up, because he can't fight backing up. He cannot fight back. Like Hergovic, cannot fight backing up. On the front foot, Joshua's brilliant, but backing up, Joshua's going to have issues. And if I'm Daniel Dubois and Don Charles, I'm saying, get the jab going, get the double jab going, and push him back. Push him back. Push him back and make him fight. You see, throwing punches when you've got the momentum coming forward is different throwing punches when you're on the back foot. You understand? So everyone looks at that in Ngannou fight. That was Joshua was on the front foot and Ngannou was on the back foot. If Dubois can take the center of the ring and double up his jab and force Joshua backwards, the upset's on the cards, because as soon as he hits Joshua on the chin, we know what happens. And for what you say about Daniel Dubois, he got hit by Hergovic a lot of times, but he's able to walk through those punches and land his own and come through a lot of punches. So you've got to say, could Joshua still up to those same punches that Hergovic was throwing? I don't know. So for me, it was about Joshua. Joshua doesn't take the greatest of punches. He can't fight on the inside. And when he gets hit and hurt, he's not the greatest one for holding. And if Andy Ruiz can get inside and hit and hurt Joshua. Andy Ruiz. If Usyk can hit and hurt Joshua, imagine a Danny Dubois hitting Joshua on the chin. A hungry, determined man. And he sparred Joshua before. So I don't see this fight like the Helenius fight. I don't see it like the Ngannou fight. I don't see it like the Jermaine Franklin fight. So for me, I think people are writing, overlooking Daniel Dubois. To me, Daniel is red alert, red alert, red alert, because he's hungry and he's ready to go. And Joshua stands walking around like the old landlord. And he's forgetting. He's now, what, 35 years old? I think Joshua. Time moves on and waits for nobody. And they say as you get older, Joshua, heavyweights mature. But, you know, with all the money being thrown around Joshua, there was also, that's come out, don't know how true it is. I sincerely hope it's not true. $900 million to be given to Anthony Joshua if he could knock Dubois out in the first round. $900 million. I'm hoping that it's not real. So Joshua, the landlord, or like when he was sitting down in that room with that tank top on, and you know, Joshua turned and said, you know, I'm just ready, you know, I'm just looking to fight. The way he said it, the way he placed those words were like, yeah, I'm the landlord, I'm the man, you can't say nothing to me. But when Daniel responded, said to him, if you want to go, we can go, we can throw now, we can go down now if you want. And just like, what? Don't disrespect me. Like, as if to say, hold on a second, you're not meant to be saying that to me, because everyone else you fought hasn't come with a passion to win. So now Joshua has to fix up real quick, because Dubois answered him back. The boy has become a man. And Joshua looks at, what? Did he just talk back to me? Did he just disrespect me? Did he just say he called me out? Nah, I can't be having that. Everyone on TV watching me, I can't be having that. So it's like, and then Dubois questioned him. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? If you want it, we'll have it. And Josh was like, what? No. I got to stand up, because if I don't stand up here, I'm going to look like an idiot. So I got to stand up and I got to look the part. So he stands up now. Dubois there. Don't be disrespecting me, or don't disrespect me, or don't disrespect me. But you know, the thing is this. That's how the fight's going to go. That is how the fight's going to go. Because Joshua's going to come in the ring thinking he's the landlord, he's the boss, he's the man, he's the two-time champion. You know, he's the more recognised name. He's the ticket seller. He's the one of the favourite guys that Turkey loves him so much, rubbing his leg. So you've got that, and you've got Dubois, and the plan is for Joshua to fight Fury. I wish I'd stop talking about it. I really do, because it's not good. And you got Dubois. I will knock out Dubois. I'll punch up that boy, no problem. Yeah? Okay. You stay there believing that. Dubois is not a boy no more. Dubois is a man. Dubois is a man. And Don Charles and his team are going to give Joshua some problems. So now, you know, when you're looking through somebody down your nose, like, who are you? And you're still looking down. He's like, Sonny Dubois. Sonny that boy. Easy work. That's the night you're going to get seriously pumped up, because you've got a guy there who's hungry. He hasn't got money like thrown at him like that. And he wants to fight. You know, the one thing about Daniel Dubois, I mean, he's not the most articulate in the world. You know, he's not the most outgoing person in the world. And almost is like a robot. You have to feed him information, and you feed him the information, and he speaks. But the one thing Danny Dubois can do is fight. He can fight and he can punch. Okay? And after the Herkovich fight, I hope that obviously Dubois coming in will fight in better caliber opposition. Dubois fought Herkovich, he fought Usyk, he's fought Joyce. I mean, he fought some really good live opponents. Usyk, champion of the world. Yeah, so I really think that people are misreading this fight. And the last time, as Jason's saying here, the last time that Joshua fought someone decent, that we thought, yeah, was Usyk. I mean, he was meant to beat Franklin, sure. He didn't look great against Franklin. He was meant to beat Helenius. Didn't look good against Helenius. And those are two well-known athletes, or well-known boxers who you've got a track record with. Then did the Ngannou fight that everyone was basing Ngannou off of what happened with Fury, and because Fury looked so bad, they thought that the same thing would happen with Joshua, but we all forgot that, you know, Joshua had time to study Ngannou, with Fury just fought a guy he knew nothing about. So, I know Turkey won't allow you AJ to lose again, so there's a number of things they'll have to do. Get bigger gloves for Dubois. Dubois' camp have to be very smart. They have to be very smart. Everything. I'm seriously, everything. The water, the gloves, the ring, checking the ring for the sponge. And oh, they need to do everything. Everything. They need to be sure of before the fight. Seriously, that has to be, as much as they're training, right? And I know John Charles and his team are pretty tight. So, you know, they'll have to watch everything for that fight, because we could be then seeing Dubois versus Fury, for example, or we see a rematch between Dubois and Usyk. And these things that come around when AJ fights in the comment section, like, AJ's gonna knock him out in 2 rounds. I mean, outside of Ngannou, who was AJ knocked out, like, legitimately top 10 in the first couple of rounds? Legitimately top 10. He hasn't. So look how long it took to get rid of Helenius. And he couldn't knock out Franklin. And let's remember, while you're talking about Joshua is best. I've always said it. He's best when he boxes. When he tries to have a fight, that's where Joshua's most vulnerable. So I've said it already. Dubois has to fight Joshua. Do not box Joshua. Fight him. First round, get out there, stick the jab on him, and have a go. The jab alone can hurt Joshua. The jab alone can hurt Anthony Joshua. And remember what Frank Warren said. This fight is going to come down to the battle of the jabs. And I think that Dubois has got a better jab than Anthony Joshua. Who has a better career at the same point in the career? Has Dubois fought better opponents so far in career than AJ had at the same number of fights? Don't know. But I think Dubois is on an upward trajectory. I don't know about AJ. And we don't know about AJ since the Usyk fight. So we'll see. We'll see if Dubois sticks on AJ, we'll know very quickly. Because he's all about the pound note, which is fine. But I think I also want to bring another point up as well, because people tend to forget Vitaly Klitschko. Yeah, the great Vitaly Klitschko, and I don't say that facetiously either. Vitaly Klitschko was knocking people out left, right, and centre. Then he came against Chris Bird, and Klitschko retired on his stool with a rotator cuff injury. Yeah, and he was deemed to have quit. He didn't want it. He didn't have a heart. This is the same Vitaly Klitschko who stood up to Lennox Lewis's big uppercuts, mouth busted open, eyes cut all over, and standing up and giving it back to Lennox Lewis. History teaches us things. They say once a quitter, always a quitter. Well, there was no quitting Vitaly that night. So sometimes it can also be the trainer that you have that instills that quit in you. When you have a team that just that you know they don't believe in you. Deep down you know they don't believe in you. Or you have nothing to fight for. Or you have a trainer that is there but you know he's there, you're there because you have to move him. And then you've got a trainer there that is more like a mentor to you. Dubois did it twice, once in a world title fight. Did he do it twice? The first time, yeah, there was something wrong with his eye. He thought his eye had gone, and fair enough. Kell Brook did it as well. The second time, he generally got hit with some good punches by Usyk. The same punches that, by the way, had Tyson Fury on Queer Street and AJ rocking as well. So it's not like, so there's some, you're getting hit accurately on the chin by a guy that's what, 220 pounds? I think that we have to put things in the right perspective. And between the Usyk fight, or between the Joyce fight and this fight here with Herkovich, there's been some maturing going on. So we can we could also say Joshua quit. Did Joshua quit against Andy Ruiz in the first fight? Are we seeing things just one way, Jason? So we can all see things the way we want to see them. But Dubois had an eye injury, which he did. What was AJ's problem? He ran out of gas and was scared of getting knocked out by Ruiz. Being stopped by a jab twice isn't a good look, though. Well, okay, Nigel Benn got stopped by a jab as well, didn't he? Didn't Nigel Dark Destroyer get knocked out by a jab? He went on to be a two-weight world champion and one of the greatest middleweights. I'm not sure what you're getting at here, bro. I'm not sure what you're getting at. Does that guy down here, he got knocked out by a jab? But the fact of the matter is, great fights. Got stopped in a jab. He went X amount of rounds taking punches from Joe Joyce, who's a big puncher himself. And again, was always quick to dismiss people. I mean, I don't know what would have happened if some of you people around Ali's era. If he did it a third time, would you be wearing a sign for you? No, not really. Not really. You can't have everything. We can't have. Okay, right. Floyd Mayweather was probably the most talented, gifted fighter of our era. Okay. People call him boring. What do you want? Deontay Wilder was probably one of the most devastating punches we had in our era. People are going to tell you can't box. So you have Mayweather, who could box and skillful, but he was boring. You have Daniel Dubois, who is a big puncher. Not Daniel. Wilder's a big puncher. Let's go to Lomachenko. Skillful, talented, never been undisputed. We could go down so many lines if we want to. Just enjoy the fighters. Daniel Dubois needs to be first every time in the... Yeah, I've said it. He has to be first. And that's how he beats Anthony Joshua. He gets on, takes center ring, double up the jab, push Joshua to ropes, and let your hands go. Let your hands go. Let your hand get on it, put your head on his chest, and just let your punches go. That's it. You're having a tear up with Anthony Joshua. And to close down and stop his punching power, get close to him and let your hands go. Because if you get close to him and you let your hands go, he's not going to do a damn to you. He ain't going to do nothing to you. Joshua's not going to do nothing to you. The only way Joshua will do something to you is if you stand off and you allow him to get the jab going and allow him to throw the right hand, and you allow him to throw the left hook, and you let him throw the uppercut. If you stick it on Joshua from round one, he's not doing anything. I'm telling you. If Dubois doubles the jab up, pushes Joshua with his back against ropes and lets his hands go, he ain't doing nothing. It'll just be big for big's sake. Does Don Charles know AJ well? must have worked together a lot in Finchley days. Yes, that would be a factor. I don't think AJ fought anyone where opponent trainer knew AJ as well. Yeah, that's true. He does know AJ well, but I don't also think I don't think you need to know AJ well because you see his shortcomings. You see his shortcomings when he gets backed up. Like Usyk in the first fight, anytime AJ came out the pocket and he decided to take control of the fight, Usyk will quickly hit him with something, and AJ will go straight back into his pocket again. You've got to remember, no matter what trainer is teaching, what's his name, Ben Davidson, McCracken, Angel Fernandez, none of these guys can change the mental makeup of a fighter like AJ. There's lots of covering up going on here. So when he gets hit in the chin and gets hurt, he'll revert to type. And type is not good. Type is Andy Ruiz 1. That's type. Angles that AJ had fits and Ruiz fast hands will be interesting to see what the jab alone can hurt AJ. I'm telling you now, that left jab can hurt AJ. It can stiffen AJ's legs. It stiffens AJ's legs, and then the right hand over the top with the left hook combination. Telling you. That's why Frank Warren has said the jab. The jab. I'm telling you. Now, AJ, if he's to win the fight, has got to do opposite. He's got to take center ring, use his jab, and when he's using the jab, he's got to turn the blinder on. 1, 2, blind, right hand over the top. 1, 2, blind, right hand over the top. So he blinds Dubois with the jab, blinds him with the jab, and as Dubois' head looks away, the right hand is there. That's how Joshua beats Dubois. Double up the jab, blind him, let the right hand go over the top. Right hand left hook combination. I'm telling you, if that's the way, so you've got to be opposite. You've got to be using your jab in this fight. Got to use your jab, and Joshua's got to stay off the ropes. Dubois is a better inside fighter than Joshua. Well, Joshua's got no inside game whatsoever. So that's how I see this fight. That's it. It's not who lands first, it's who takes the best shot. Because, Joshua could land a good shot on Dubois and he takes it. Dubois can land a shot on Joshua and he doesn't take it. So it's who lands best. And I think here is where the fight's going to be won and lost. I really do. Because if AJ comes in with the landlord mentality, he's going to be in clear and present danger. Dubois needs to use the cross-arm defense to protect himself. Yeah, I did see the spat with AJ and Froch. That's been going on for years, though. That's been going on for years. That's because AJ left McCracken. That's what it is. And Froch fought with McCracken all his career, so there's all that. And AJ kind of feels that Froch was always saying things about him that he didn't like. And I don't know. Froch is gonna continue to. It's only a matter of time before Froch and someone collide. AJ showing off cash and Rolex on bed like those drug dealer bragging videos. I missed most of the stream. Who are you saying will win? I didn't say who would win. I'm just saying who I'm giving a preview. I've given a preview, so yeah. I know I saw the thing with AJ, the cash and the Rolex. Yeah, that may not last much longer. You think AJ wins? Okay, fine, no problems. That may not last much longer, though. There may be a new landlord in town. Yeah. Cesar Zhang versus Ajit Kabayel will be a good boxing match. I love Ajit Kabayel. I told people about Ajit Kabayel. It was very dangerous. We were trying to make that fight between Kabayel and Fury. Ajit Kabayel's a dangerous heavyweight. And people are laughing at me. They're not laughing now about Ajay Caballero. Everyone knows AJ is rich. It's weird. It's a weird, such a weird flex like Elon Musk flexing how rich he is. Yeah, but he's rich, but no championship belts. So he needs that. He needs the belt back. Would have thought that much money would have elevated him to know it's not the most important thing in your life. Yeah, but when you're insecure, you have to try and you have to show people. You have to show constantly show out all the time. When you're insecure like that, when you're secure, you don't have to do that stuff. You never catch a Lennox Lewis and doing something like that. You understand? You show out because you you're very insecure. That's what it is, or signs of insecurity. Because yeah, you got money, but are you a man? Are you a man of your word? Do you have integrity? Are you loyal? I don't know. It's what it is. Some people like that stuff. Right, I'm out. Thank you all so much for watching. By the way, do get across to my sports channel, BWTM Gaming, where I will eventually be getting my PS5. But at the time being, I've got my microphone. I'm going to be mic'd up, so you can talk to me live over on BWTM Gaming. BWTM Gaming, check it out. You can check out the videos on the playlist on the YouTube channel. On our YouTube channel, just go across the playlist and click watch it. Do you like Turkey Al Sheikh's Boxing League? I think that I'm going to do another video on it. In fact, I'm going to do a video in a minute about it. I have done a video about uh, Turkey, and I'm going to do another one now. Okay. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been BWTM Sports. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments, share the videos, and tell others. Let me get out of here. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another video.